Some interesting times that we're in, considering all that's been going on. I have some interesting things to cover. Actually, this is amazing, some of the stuff I found today. We're going to get into it in a little bit here. All right. First, I wanted to mention about Disney losing $2 billion because of their parks being closed. That's, of course, not the only company. We have a lot of big companies now having a lot of fun. You have also Richard Branson's company, his airline, that has also been going through quite a bit. They have essentially run out of money. They are now filing, as you would say, for bankruptcy because of the fact that they just started recently doing flights again, apparently in July. But of course, I mean, there's 3 months there where they had pretty much nothing happening. You know what I mean? So you have all these big companies now that are actually looking at the fact that they may not be around anymore, right? All because of what? That's a good question. Check this out. I actually have a lot of really interesting and cool stuff to show you in this video. I hadn't seen this, okay? We have this guy here. Oh, what is this guy's name? Robert. Yeah, Robert. His last name is Breaker. All right, check this out. He's showing the numerical meaning, as you would say, of certain, right here, letters, and for a certain thing, a strain, right? Notice the number pattern, okay? Look a little familiar. Might have seen that before, right? I don't know. Might have seen that number pattern a few times, especially with a certain guy who's been sort of talking about it all the time. Bill there, you know, he has a number of, well, he has that number also seemingly attached to a lot of the things he's doing as well. Like one of his patents, right? Oh, here it is. This is the one I'm talking about. Yeah, you can see this patent here. It's got a rather interesting number attached to it. Kind of goes along with this a little bit. Just a tad. And of course, there's a lot more of this, folks. We're not done, of course. There's more. Actually, there's a ton more we're going to go over. We're now, and this is sort of like maybe 2 or 3 videos in one, okay? We're going to be covering this and some things related to it you haven't seen. They're also going to be covering something else at the end of this video that you're definitely going to want to see, okay? Something very interesting I found, all right? All right, also you got this here, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen all this stuff, but it's just you have to kind of document this stuff, you know what I mean, as I'm trying to go through and show everything. So you have this component that is also included in it, all right? There you go. All right, what else do we got here? I got lots of other stuff here. Now, I'm going to get into more of this in a second, but first I wanted to show you this. I thought this is rather interesting. It kind of relates to this whole topic, how, you know, they say you can only have 10 people in a room and things like this, and for a service you can only have 10 people. But of course, for our representatives, these rules, as you would say, do not apply whatsoever. Okay, as you can see here, someone who was considered important is no longer, as you would say, with us, and they decided to have a service, and as you can see, a lot of people went there. A lot. Not a few, a lot. And they only say you can have 10. But of course, this guy can have hundreds, apparently, hundreds. Who are we talking about? This guy here, his name is John Lewis. All right, he was a leader in the community, and actually a lot of people have been talking about him today. You can go check out a lot of videos on that if you want to. So there's that, but I just thought that was rather interesting how they seem to never have the distance. They never seem to be wearing these when they should be. You know what I mean? It's like, you guys say we have to, but you don't ever, you know? And there's just yet another example of that. Now, this is rather curious. I actually didn't really know this. And I just figured out, I just learned about this. I mean, I guess I should have known this before now, but due to what this topic's all about, I can't go into great detail, but essentially what's included in these? You know, those things that you would put maybe in your, as you would say, your arm. These things have certain things that have been used, like this here, to do research to create them. All right. There was one, I guess there was one person from the 1960s that had this happen to him right here, that they used cells from him to create these here, the things that are solutions, you know what I mean, that they put, as you would say, in your arm, okay? That is created using some cells from somebody from the 1960s, apparently. And this is called this here, all right? If you can see that, let me see if I can get in closer. This right here. M, as you would say, RC, right there, 5, okay? That right there is what this, I guess the thing is called. And like I said, I didn't really know anything about this, but apparently that's the case, all right? Now, the thing is, though, is this was, you know, I don't want to get into all the, you know, is this right, is this wrong? Obviously, it's not good, but I mean, the question is, you know, some people are like, you know, this is why a lot of people take the position that you shouldn't be using them at all, obviously, and it makes a lot of sense, you know, with that type of mentality, okay? So that's why a lot of people take that approach. Now, they're going to be asking you, of course, to be taking one of these things in the future with the whole strain that's been around and going about of recent, you know, since March. They're planning on making it potentially to where everybody has to get this, right? And maybe you can't say no to it, right? Or maybe you think you can't. But actually, I thought this was interesting. Someone pointed out a way or means to say, no, you don't want it. And so I thought I would just show this really quick a little bit. Basically, you ask if there is this one material that was used to create it, which I just showed you. M, as you would say, RC. As you can see there, 5. That, if that was used to create it, then you can say, was that used to create it? And they have to say yes for the most part in every situation. Then you can say, I don't want to use it, okay? I don't want to have one, okay? And that's, instead of just coming out up front saying, no, I'm not going to, you just ask these questions. Is this been used to make it? And then you have sort of an out through that, I guess, is how they're saying it or framing it, which makes sense. Okay, I mean it's a way to make it sound like you're being more scientific about it and thinking about it, and you're sort of objective. You know what I mean? And it doesn't sound like you're just saying outright no, like that. And maybe that will, I guess, from what I understand, that goes over quite a lot better. So. Just some food for thought, I guess you would say. Getting on some other things here. Now, this is just a theory I've heard, all right? But curiously, this guy had a dream, okay? And I'm just going to tell you there's like two sides. I've seen two different sides out there. I've seen one side that says, you know, we're going to have 4, as you would say, more years with the Prez, and things are going to go a lot better because things are going to get cleaned up. And I'm really hoping that's what's going to happen. And honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards it, though I think it's not going to be very nice at the end of this year. This is my theory. I think they're kind of both, like, got something right, both sides. But the other side, of course, is saying pretty much we're in the time of the end, and like the end of the year, that's it. You know, I mean, this is pretty much what the other side's saying, okay? Now, I'm going to present something a lot of people haven't seen. I'm going to show you something. This is sort of the end of this year, that's it. Kind of a idea. And I honestly hope this is not true. And when you hear this, you're gonna be like, what? It actually kind of makes sense too. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. It sounds like the perfect move to make if you're on the other side too. Okay, this is pretty big. Check this picture out. Of course, you've probably seen this picture, the Prez with Jeff here, right? You see that? What if they have other pictures? What if they have other videos? Okay? What if they make them? What if they create some that look, as you would say, real, but they're not? Which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. which is what I'm leaning towards. Now, this guy said he has a dream that that's what's basically let, I guess you would say, out at, September, October. So if you think about this, I was trying to figure out, because I saw these other videos of dreams, and they're saying that like in September, October, all of a sudden just things get a little different. And I'm like, this doesn't make logical sense. The only way that can happen is if something changes. Like there's some significant change in some way, shape, or form. Something's influencing something. Something has to happen that really changes things. And I couldn't really think of much. I was thinking of a couple things. I was like, I don't know, man. Because you see these videos of people talking about what's going to happen in September, October. That's going to make this thing really go, as you would say, south, okay? And I couldn't really think of much of anything. But this actually makes sense. What if they make some not real videos or photos of him being with, as you would say, Jeff, doing, as you would say, certain things? You see what I'm saying? And now they actually have that type of technology to do that, by the way. Right? And what if they've been working on it for like, and why do I say it? Why do I say that I think it wouldn't be real? And why do I think that this would be the perfect move? I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if they had something, they would have already released it a long time ago. Give me a break. I mean, if they really had something, they would have done it back in 2016. They would have did it like a year ago or 2 years ago. I think they actually, and also on top of that, his confidence level is way too high for that, for it to be like, if you're one of those people that they have that, as you would say, on, he wouldn't have the confidence he has. He wouldn't have been doing the things he's been doing. He would have been just like all the rest, just doing what they said. You know what I mean? So I don't think they actually have anything like that. But they could maybe make it. That's the thing. They could maybe make it. Now they have the technology to do it. Maybe that's what ends up being what is, as you would say, let out of, I guess, the bag. Right? So, and I could see how that could actually really change things. Especially with 2020 and everything up till now, and then you just put that on top of it, checkmate. I'm like, okay, that would actually explain all the things people are saying that happens then. That would explain the change of people's, as you would say, thoughts and feelings and all this kind of stuff. If all of a sudden they had something that appeared to be real, showing something really, as you would say, ridiculous with this, okay? See what I mean now? But honestly, I'm positive. I'm a positive person. And honestly, I've seen these other predictions that have come to pass from other people who say that we're going to have 4, as you would say, more years, and things are going to actually get better. The outlets are actually going to start being on, as you would say, his side even. And it sounds like almost impossible, but what if I'm just saying, you're just like thinking out loud here. What if somehow they are trying to do these things and it just doesn't go the right way for them, and then they end up putting themselves out there to where everybody can see who they are, and then that in turn leads to them being, as you would say, taken, you know what I mean, out. I mean, there's stories like that you've read even in the scriptures where it's something like that, where they're like preparing, they're going to do all this stuff, and the next thing you know, it ends up being used for them. I think, isn't it the guy's name Mordecai or something? Happens to somebody like that. I think that's his name. I can't remember. This is the story. This sounds kind of like what I think may happen, where they're trying to do everything and anything to make sure the prez is out, right? And then it ends up, as you would say, backfiring. Now, I just wanted to say this is not a time for us to be playing games, okay? Especially with our faith, right? We need to be more serious. And I saw this video from this lady here. Interesting message that she's been giving of recent. A lot of people think that, you can just do whatever you want. Once you have faith, you can just live whatever way you want. But actually, that is not the case whatsoever. The word faith means to be faithful, to have fidelity unto the King of Kings. Now, I just wanted to mention that because I feel like there's some people out there that that are giving kind of the wrong message in that respect. We have to actually be thinking about how we live our lives, how we're examples to others. And, we are essentially married, as you would say, to the King of Kings. That's kind of the idea at the end of the book there, is that there's a wedding, right? So, this is the thing that honestly, it says that we're without spot or wrinkle. How are you going to be without a spot or wrinkle if you're just living whatever you want to do with your life? You know what I mean? So, obviously, I think this would be a wise time to get right, as you would imagine, considering all that's been going on. So, please check out the link in my description. I have more information on how to become part of, as you would say, the faith. Because, time's getting, as you would say, short, and we need to really be serious about what's going on. At any rate, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. You might have noticed that things have been changing just a little bit. In 2020, here in the US of A and also around the world, you have a lot of things going on with the economy. Months on end with businesses closed obviously is not a good thing. Now we're seeing a lot of stories about the fact that they've been printing this money for months, okay? It's been 3 months, and now people are actually starting to wonder what's going on. Some are really thinking what's going to happen with inflation. We're already starting to see some of these commodities like gold and silver increase in value finally, although they were initially held artificially low due to some certain things that were going on, like for instance Chase buying out this very large bank that had a huge stakehold in silver and gold, and they were able to keep the price artificially low for a couple months there. Now we're starting to see it climb. Now this is why it's wise to be getting into this now before it climbs way higher, because right now we're still seeing the fact that they're printing this money, okay? The way they responded to all that happened is going to change our economy forever, all right? Kind of how this article here is indicating. We're seeing a lot of things. Also, people are talking now that it's an obvious must own at this point for gold, copper, and silver. I myself have bought a number of things recently with gold and silver. And actually, I need to go buy some more, actually, considering the fact that we're still printing money. We're still not fully out of this thing. And it sounds like some people want to keep us in this thing, where the businesses are all closed and everything. Which, why would they do that? I don't know. Good question, right? I think they actually have a reason behind it. So, and it may have something to do with the current prez. Maybe they don't like him so much and want him out. I don't know. But here we have a graph showing kind of what's going on. As you can see here, this kind of went straight up there. You see that? Straight up there, okay? We're talking about balance sheets going through the roof. Through the roof. Printing money, of course, whenever they print this money, it makes the money that's currently in your wallet worth less and less. So let's say there was I'm just making up a number. Let's just say there's $5 trillion in circulation. If they print another 3 trillion, that 5 trillion it's essentially gonna take a significant percentage from the amount of money, amount of value in your dollars. So if you had, let's say you had $8, it'd probably be worth $5. You see, eventually, maybe not right away, but once that money starts getting circulated and it starts sort of equilibrium out, it'll eventually be worth $5, that $8. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. Of course, they haven't printed that much yet, but you see kind of the idea. It could easily keep going this route. And it also starts exponentiating. We've seen countries in the past where you might have seen people talking about the fact they had to have a wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread. Not exactly good, as you can imagine. So obviously, if you have gold and silver and other types of commodities, even copper they were talking about, and there's other things out there as well, these type of investments can retain their value, although they'll appear like they're going through the roof in value. In reality, they're merely retaining its actual value most of the time. When it comes to gold and silver, it's actually retaining the actual value of your money, while everybody else's money is going down in value, including all other currencies, because they're all tied together in the system. And they all go down together, and it looks like they're all, oh, look, see, the dollar is good against that dollar. Australian dollar and the US dollar look about the same. Well, actually, no. They're just all going down at the same time, so the value is losing on all of them. And this is why people don't really notice it, is because they always compare to other dollars, which are also in the same boat. It's like looking at another boat next to you that's sinking. Oh, look, see, they're going down good too. Yeah, it's kind of like that, But, I mean, interestingly, there is a website I highly recommend for buying gold, silver, and these type of metals. We have here AppMex here. This is a great website to buy from. I have a link in the description. Good pricing. It's only a little bit above the actual cost of gold and silver. Of course, it's going to be a little bit above because you have the coin being manufactured, and also some of these coins have some of their own intrinsic value because of what they represent. Might be U.S. Mint or whatever it might be. And in those cases, they actually cost a little bit more. And they all obviously will retain that value because they're, only so many are created and such and things like that. And of course, you also have silver bars. And some of these things can't be used as actual currency if it's just simply something of the material itself. You know what I mean? So you have also that as well. But interestingly, you have some good prices. I would highly recommend looking at some of this stuff. There's also things like junk silver, which of course they also sell, which is, essentially silver dollars, half silver dollars and such that were printed back in the 50s or 60s, before when they actually had the dollar pegged to things like silver and gold, which of course they took off that standard. So those, and ironically, it's like a $50 in size. Back then it was worth $50, but now it's worth, $4 or $5. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. It's interesting. You can see how much inflation's already, because they took it off the standard, how much it's went up. You know what I mean? That $50 is now worth $5 in our system. And it used to be a $50. It shows you how much inflation has been since that time. You know what I mean? So there's that. Also, we have, we have also the fact that you can turn this into a business even. Now, I used to sell myself online, okay, on Amazon and other websites, eBay. But you can actually buy these, like silver, usually silver is probably better, and sell them on these websites. Like, for instance, you can see, and usually for a good profit. And I actually had a friend who was also on this website, made videos. She would do this, and she actually started making some good money doing this, selling silver, all right? So you could literally buy it from AppMex here and then sell it over here for a profit. And, I mean, there's a lot of people that do this, and a lot of people simply go to this website because they think, oh, this has got the cheapest prices. You know what I mean? This is what people do. So, I mean, that's yet another way. You could actually make some money from it as well if you wanted to do that. So there's a lot of things you can, there's a lot of ways you can take this. I personally just keeping the money, the silver and gold for myself, just so I have some on hand in case I really need it, or in case, the dollar goes, you know what I mean? I have to have a decent amount on hand in case something like that happens. Because once it goes down a lot, then it's going to be very hard to get gold and silver. And recently it was very difficult, but at any rate, you can still buy it here on this website. Some of these websites really hold a lot of it in stock and have it on hand. So it's just something I recommend. Check out the links in the description, and I would highly recommend you get a couple coins or something. And thanks for watching.